What if the secret to lasting wealth and success didn't come from flashy lifestyles, but from timeless lessons passed down by the wealthiest families for centuries? You've probably seen it in movies and social media, the glittering world of fast cars, luxurious vacations, and big, bold displays of wealth. But what if I told you that the true path to lasting financial success isn't about chasing fame or the next big thing? What if instead it lies in embracing the wisdom of those who built wealth slowly and deliberately? Today, we're diving into the world of old money. These are the families who have maintained their wealth across generations, not through trendy investment schemes, but through principles that emphasize patience, discipline, and legacy. The lessons they've passed down can change your life and your approach to wealth. The importance of patience and long-term thinking. The first lesson from old money is one that many people overlook in today's world: patience and long-term thinking. Old money families understand that wealth isn't built overnight. They focus on steady growth, knowing that the path to prosperity takes time. Take, for example, the Rockefeller family. While many were chasing quick returns, the Rockefellers invested in land and oil, assets that appreciate over time. By focusing on slow, sustainable growth, they were able to create not just wealth, but a legacy that has lasted more than a century. This mindset is all about understanding the power of compounding. You don't need to strike it rich overnight. What you need is a strategy that grows over time, whether that's in real estate, the stock market, or other long-term investments. Remember, wealth is built little by little, not with the next get-rich-quick scheme. Living below your means, the power of frugality. The second lesson that old money teaches us is the power of living below your means. You might think that the wealthiest families are splurging on everything, but the truth is, they often live much more modestly than you'd expect. They value quality over quantity and make careful, thoughtful purchases. A perfect example of this is the story of the DuPont family. Despite their wealth, they lived relatively modestly, choosing to invest their money wisely in land, business, and art, rather than indulging in fleeting luxuries. Their homes were not grandiose palaces, but elegant, understated estates. The lesson here is clear. Don't get caught up in consumerism. Budget wisely, avoid impulsive spending, and focus on investing in assets that appreciate, whether it's real estate, stocks, or even your own skills and education. Remember, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep and how you grow it. The value of education and knowledge. Now let's talk about education, one of the most important investments in the old money mindset. In old money families, education is seen as a lifelong pursuit. It's not just about formal schooling, but a commitment to continuous learning, whether it's in finance, business, or cultural awareness. Take the Vanderbilt family, for instance. They built their fortune in railroads and shipping, but they also invested heavily in educating their children. Their focus wasn't just on academics, but on imparting the wisdom of business, leadership, and integrity. Values that would carry the family's fortune for generations. The takeaway here is clear: keep learning. Knowledge is a powerful tool that opens doors to opportunities. Whether it's investing in your education, reading books on finance, or simply staying informed about the world around you, constant learning is the key to unlocking new opportunities and staying ahead of the curve. The power of discretion and privacy. Another very significant aspect of old money, the power of discretion and privacy. In a world where social media often makes it tempting to share every aspect of our lives, our possessions, our accomplishments, and even our most personal moments, old money families take a different approach. They understand the importance of keeping a low profile. The wealthiest families in the world don't need to flaunt their success. In fact, many of them avoid public displays of wealth altogether. Take a look at the famous Rothschild family, one of the wealthiest and most influential families in history. Despite their enormous wealth, the Rothschilds have famously kept their financial dealings private. They live by the principle that wealth is meant to work for you, not to be shown off to the world. In the world of old money, discretion isn't just about keeping secrets, it's about maintaining control. By keeping their financial affairs private, these families protect their wealth from unnecessary scrutiny and avoid external pressure. The need for constant validation is absent. They don't post photos of their luxury cars on Instagram or make their purchases into a public spectacle. Instead, their wealth works quietly in the background, generating more wealth. So, what can we learn from this? The lesson here is about keeping your financial status and plans private. When you keep things under wraps, you're less likely to invite unwanted attention or stress. The constant pressure to prove yourself or to keep up with the Joneses disappears. The less others know about your financial status, the more freedom you have to make decisions that align with your true values. And perhaps most importantly, it allows you to live without constantly seeking approval from others. Building a legacy, wealth beyond money. Now, let's move to another cornerstone of old money thinking, building a legacy that goes beyond money. Old money families often place significant value on creating something that will endure long after they are gone. In the eyes of old money families, wealth isn't just about accumulating assets for yourself. It's about building something that can be passed down through generations. A true legacy is about creating a foundation for your family that extends far beyond financial wealth. It's about instilling values, principles, and traditions that will continue to guide future generations. The Vanderbilt family is a perfect example of this mindset. While they did amass great wealth in railroads and shipping, their legacy extends beyond their financial holdings. The Vanderbilts were also known for their philanthropy. They donated vast sums of money to hospitals, universities, and libraries, leaving a mark on society that will last for generations. Their legacy wasn't just about their wealth, it was about their contributions to the greater good. Another powerful example is the Ford Foundation, established by Henry Ford. While Henry Ford was best known for revolutionizing the automobile industry and amassing significant wealth, his foundation was designed to serve the public good, funding programs in areas like education, arts, and economic development. The Ford Foundation continues to influence society even today, decades after Ford's passing. So, what's the takeaway here? If you're focusing only on accumulating wealth for yourself, you may be missing the bigger picture. Old money teaches us the value of creating something that transcends your own lifetime. This might be through charitable works, establishing family businesses that provide opportunities for future generations, or contributing to your community. When you start focusing on building a legacy, not just accumulating wealth, your impact can last far beyond your own time. The importance of strong relationships and networking. Moving on, let's discuss a crucial element of old money that often goes unnoticed by those outside these circles. Strong relationships and networking. Old money families understand that wealth isn't just about money, it's about people. Over the centuries, they've built powerful, lasting relationships with other influential families and individuals and these relationships have played a key role in preserving their wealth. In fact, many old money families are part of exclusive social circles. They've cultivated these relationships over decades, and they rely on them not just for business opportunities, but for advice, support, and guidance. Whether it's a powerful political connection or a trusted business partner, these relationships become part of the fabric of their wealth. Take the Rockefeller family, for example. Not only did they create a vast fortune in the oil industry, but they also became key players in global philanthropy and government policy. They built relationships with world leaders, businessmen, and scholars, which allowed their influence to extend beyond just their financial wealth. Their ability to maintain relationships and network with the right people helped them sustain and grow their fortune for generations. What can we learn from this? Building strong relationships isn't just about getting ahead in your career or business. It's about creating a support system that will last. Focus on developing relationships that are built on trust, respect, and shared values. Over time, these relationships can help you gain opportunities that go far beyond what you can achieve on your own. Take the time to network, but make sure it's genuine and long-lasting. Invest in relationships as much as you invest in your career or financial growth. After all, the most powerful connections can often be the ones that help you the most. Avoiding debt, the old money rule. Finally, let's dive into one of the most essential rules of old money thinking: avoiding debt or using it sparingly. Old money families are known for their prudent use of debt. In fact, many of them avoid debt entirely. Why? Because they understand that debt is a risk, and it's a burden that can easily get out of control. Take the Carnegie family, for example. Andrew Carnegie amassed a fortune in steel, but throughout his life, he was known for living conservatively and avoiding debt. He understood that borrowing too much can put you in a precarious financial position, especially if investments don't pay off as expected. In contrast, many wealthy families today, particularly those in the new money category, may be more willing to leverage debt in an attempt to speed up their wealth-building process. However, old money teaches us a different lesson: the importance of saving, investing, and creating wealth the traditional way. So, what's the lesson here? Avoid debt or use it cautiously. The key is to be mindful of your financial decisions and understand that debt is a tool, not a solution. Use debt only when it's absolutely necessary, and make sure it's to fund investments that will grow your wealth in the long run. Rather than borrowing to live beyond your means or chase fleeting desires, old money teaches us to prioritize financial stability, build wealth slowly, and live within our means. As we come to the end of today's journey, let's take a moment to recap the timeless principles we've explored from old money families. These are the principles that have helped some of the wealthiest families maintain and grow their wealth across generations. First, we talked about patience and long-term thinking. Old money families don't chase instant wealth. They understand the power of compounding and building wealth slowly over time. It's about consistency, not speed. Next, we discuss the importance of living below your means, the value of frugality. Despite having vast fortunes, old money families prioritize quality over quantity, investing in things that will appreciate rather than spending on fleeting luxuries. We then highlighted the importance of education and knowledge. Wealth isn't just about assets, it's about continual growth through learning. Old money families understand the power of educating future generations in both formal and informal ways. Knowledge is their most valued asset. We also explored discretion and privacy. Old money families avoid public displays of wealth. They don't seek validation through social media or public boasting. Their wealth is a private affair, and that helps them avoid unnecessary pressures from the outside world. Another key lesson was about creating a legacy. Old money is about building something that lasts, a legacy that includes not only wealth, but also values, family traditions, and contributions to the greater good. Wealth is only one part of the equation. We also saw how relationships and networking are integral. The connections these families build over generations are often more valuable than money itself. Old money teaches us that success is never a solo journey. It's about building strong, lasting relationships based on trust and mutual respect. Finally, we talked about avoiding debt. Old money families are cautious with debt. They use it sparingly, if at all, and they understand that wealth is not about borrowing to build a lifestyle, but about saving and investing wisely. Now, here's the challenge for you. Take these lessons and start applying them in your own life. Even small shifts in mindset can lead to extraordinary results. It's not about making huge changes all at once. It's about consistently applying these principles every day. Start with patience. Start with frugality. Start with learning. Over time, you'll see how these small shifts compound into something powerful. Remember, wealth isn't built overnight. It's about sustaining it over time, and the old money way provides a blueprint for a life that endures. It's not about how fast you build your wealth, but about how long you can sustain it. Build a foundation that lasts, and your wealth will grow alongside it. I want to leave you with a personal story that highlights the impact of these old money principles. A few years ago, I found myself caught up in the hustle of trying to get ahead, rushing to achieve success quickly, chasing the next big opportunity, always looking for faster results. But no matter how hard I tried, I felt like something was missing. That's when I stumbled upon the teachings of old money. I started to reflect on the principles of patience, frugality, and the importance of building something that lasts. I stopped focusing on instant gratification and instead began investing in things that would appreciate over time. Whether it was learning new skills, cultivating better relationships, or making more mindful financial decisions. One lesson that really resonated with me was the idea of living below my means. I began prioritizing savings, making more thoughtful investments, and cutting back on unnecessary expenses. And as I adopted this mindset, I noticed a subtle shift in my financial stability. I started thinking more long-term, and that gave me the peace of mind I had been missing. Applying the principle of discretion was another game changer. I realized that by keeping my financial goals and progress more private, I avoided unnecessary pressure and distractions from outside influences. I could focus more on my own path rather than seeking validation from others. Perhaps the most significant shift came when I began to think about my legacy. I started asking myself, what am I building that will last beyond my own lifetime? I began focusing on creating meaningful work, building long-lasting relationships, and giving back to my community. These steps didn't just improve my financial situation, they enriched my life in ways I never imagined. So, I encourage you to take a moment and reflect on what you're building. Are you focusing on long-term wealth, or are you chasing fast returns? Are you building relationships that will help you grow, or are you doing it alone? The principles of old money can help guide you, just as they've helped many before us. If you've started applying any of these lessons in your own life, I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. We're all on this journey together, and sometimes sharing our experiences can be the most valuable way to learn. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let's continue to build a life of purpose, wealth, and legacy together. Thanks for watching. Until next time, remember, it's not about how fast you build your wealth, but about how long you can sustain it. Take your time, build wisely, and your legacy will last.